we are on 1 Kings chapter 3. And Solomon made affinity with, affinity with Pharaoh king of Egypt, and took Pharaoh's daughter, and brought her unto the city of David, and until he had made an end of building his own house, the house of the Lord, the wall of Jerusalem around about. From the very get-go, he went straight over and married a king's daughter in Egypt. Egypt is a sign of sin, and they serve false gods. They do not serve Yahweh, the Creator, Jesus Christ. So therefore, from the very get-go, he is not really on God's side. Alright, 2. Only the people sacrificed in high places, because there was no house built unto the name of the Lord until these days. And Solomon loved the Lord. He loved the Lord, but yet he went against the Lord. Because, think about it. Like I said, Egypt is a type of sin, and they served false gods. So how many gods did he serve as he was king? Let's go on. Alright, and Solomon loved the Lord, walking in the statue of David his father. Only he sacrificed and burnt incense in high places. Okay, now this is where I'm having problems with this, because I watched a video not too long ago and said that the Lord in the KJV meant that it was like a Baal, and I don't know. Alright, let's go on to 4. We're going to be confused about this. And the king went to Gibon to sacrifice there. Where's Gibon? For that was the great high place. 1,000 burnt offering did Solomon offer upon that altar. Okay, now, if you remember, God said for the Israelites that came out of Egypt to tear down their altars and their high places. It's just more putting me towards. Okay. In this video, they said that Solomon had a ring, and that Solomon could make demons do what he wanted because of the ring. I don't know how true it is. I'm hoping I can come across it here, but what I'm seeing here, it's not like he really worshiped the Creator, that he worshiped Lord Baal. Okay. In Gibeon, the Lord appeared unto Solomon in a dream by night, and God said, "Ask what I shall give thee." And Solomon says, "Thou hast showed unto thy servant David my father great mercy, according as he walketh before thee, truth and righteousness, and an upright of heart with thee. And thou hast kept for him this great kindness, that thou hast given him a son to sit on his throne, as is his day, as is this day." There we go. Okay. Now, I'm going to say the Lord. I don't think this is going to be the Creator, Father God, and if it is, please forgive me, but I do not think it is. And as we go on, I'm going to point more out to you so far you could see what's going on here. But I'm going to go on. But this does not, I don't know, it just don't settle right with me. And now, O Lord my God, hast made thy servant king instead of David my father, and I am but a little child. I know not how to go out or to come in. Wait a minute. Cannot be a little child if he went and married the daughter of Pharaoh. Okay? He can't be. And thy servant is in the midst of thy people, which thou hast chosen, a great people, that cannot be numbered nor counted for the multitude. Give therefore thy servant understanding heart to judge thy people, that I may discern between good and bad. For who is able to judge this so great a people? Well, you do it one at a time. But I can understand him wanting understanding heart to judge thy people and discern between good and bad. But now you got to remember, go back to the Garden of Eden. They didn't know good and bad until the serpent come along. And then when the serpent come along, then they knew good and bad. Okay? So there you go on that one. And his speech pleased the Lord. And Solomon had asked this thing. And God said unto him, Because thou hast asked this thing, and hast not asked for thyself long life, neither hast asked riches for thyself, which he already has as riches, nor hast asked the life of thine enemies. He hast asked for thyself understanding to discern judgment. Behold, I have done according to thy words. Lo, I have given thee a wise and understanding heart, so that there was none like thee before thee, neither after thee shall any arise like unto thee. I have also given thee that which thou hast not asked, both riches and honor, so that there shall not be any among the kings like unto thee all thy days. And if thou wilt walk in my ways to keep my statutes and my commandment, as thy father David did walk, then I will lengthen thy days. And Solomon awoke, and behold, it was a dream. And he came to Jerusalem and stood before the ark of the covenant of the Lord, and offered up burnt offering and offering peace offering, and made a feast to all his servants. Well, now that right there is like saying, hey God, forgive me for what I done. So therefore, him asking for forgiveness now, because that's the way they did it back then. All right, so far, right now at this point, we're saying, okay, he changed his heart. All right, let's go on. Then came there two women that were harlots unto the king, and stood before him. And one woman said, O my lord, I and this woman dwell in one house, and I was delivered a child with her in the house. And it came to pass the third day, that after I was delivered, that this woman delivered also. And we were together. There was no stranger with us in the house, save we two in the house. And this woman's child died in the night, because she overlaid it. In other words, she laid on top of it and smothered it. And she arose at midnight, and took my son from beside me, while thine handmaid slept, and laid in her bosom, and laid her dead child in my bosom. And when I arose in the morning, I gave my child suck. Behold, it was dead. But when I was considered in the morning, behold, it was not my son which I did bear. And the other woman said, Nay, but the living is my son, and the dead is thy son. And this said, No, but the dead is thy son, and the living is my son. Thus they speak before the king. Then said the king, the one saith, This is my son that liveth, and thy son is dead. And the other said, Nay, but thy son is dead, and my son is the living. And the king said, Bring me a sword. And they brought a sword before the king. And the king said, Divide the living child in two, and give half to one, and half to the other. And then spoke the woman who the living child was unto the king, for her bowels yearned upon her son. And she said, O my lord, give the living child, and in no wise slay it. But the other said, Let it be neither mine nor thine, but divide it. Then the king answered and said, Give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. She is the mother thereof. And all of Israel heard of the judgment which the king had judged, and they feared the king, for they saw that the wisdom of God was in him to do judgment. And I am not going to say anything on that one. Alright, we're on chapter 4. So King Solomon was king over all of Israel, and they were princes which he had. Ahaziah, the son of Zadok the priest, Elhorph, and Ahi, the son of Shisha, scribe, Jehoshaphat, the son of Ahinlu, the recorder, and Benjamin, the son of Jehoiada, was over the host, and Zadok and Abiathar were the priest. And Abiathar, the son of Nathan, was over the officers, and Jehiel, the son of Nathan, was principal officer and the king's friend. And Ahizor was over the household, and Adoram, the son of Ada, was over the tribute. And Solomon had 12 officers over Israel, which provided victuals for the king and his household. Each man his month in a year made provision. And these are the names of the son of Hor in Mount Ephraim. Okay, I'm going to go down. I'm going to skip 9 and 10 because I'm not butchering names. And the son of Abinadab in all the reign of Dor, which had Tabath, the daughter of Solomon's wife. Now, and then we are going down more on these names. And I'm not going to butcher them. So give me a minute. Alright, I'm going to go 20. And Judah and Israel were many, as the sand which is by the sea in multitude, eating and drinking and making merry. And Solomon reigned over all the kingdom, from the river unto the land of the Philistines, and unto the borders of Egypt. They brought presents, and served Solomon all the days of his life. And Solomon provisions for one day was 30 measure of fine flour, and 60 measure of meal, 10 fat oxen, and 20 oxen out of the pasture, and 100 sheep, besides harts and roebucks, and fallow deer, and fatted fowl. While he was hungry all the time. He was a big fat man. If he ate all that, I don't see how that had to be for the whole household. For he had dominion over the rain on this side of the river from Tiphash, even to Azahah, over all the kings on this side of the river, and he had peace on all sides around about him. And Judah and Israel dwelt safely, every man under his vine and under his fig tree, from Dan even into Bathsheba, all the days of Solomon. And Solomon had 40,000 stalls of horses for his chariot, and 12,000 horsemen. That is a lot of people, and no wonder they had to have a lot of food. And those officers provided victuals. Wait a minute. And those officers provided victuals for King Solomon and for all that came into the King Solomon's table. Every man this month, they lacked nothing. See, I told you, they had to feed everybody. Barley also, and straw for the horses, and dietaries brought they into the place where the officers were, every man according to his charge. And God gave Solomon wisdom and understanding exceeding much, and largeness of heart, even as the sand that is on the seashore. And Solomon's wisdom exceeded and the wisdom of all the children of the east country, and all the wisdom of Egypt. For he was wiser than all men, than Ethan the Ethanite, and Heman, and Carco, and Dara the son of Maha, and the fame was all in the nation around about. And he spoke 3,000 proverbs, and his songs were 1,005. And he spoke of trees, from the cedar tree that is in the Lebanon, even unto the hyssop that springeth out of the well. Let's see, out of the wall. Sorry about that. I can see the lettering right behind where this is. He spoke also of beasts and of fowl, and of creeping things, and of fish. And there came of all people to hear the wisdom of Solomon, from all kings of the earth, which had heard of his wisdom. Now, we're on chapter 5, and I'm not going to read it. I'm going to quit for tonight. And we'll pick up on chapter 5 the next time. But I'm pretty sure that if y'all do some research on Solomon, you're going to find out Solomon really wasn't for the Creator God. And if you can live like Solomon, and we're going to continue on. Now remember, he married an Egyptian. So he's serving more than the Creator God. And if that's true, and he made it to heaven, then it doesn't really matter what we do. Jesus Christ, he died for nothing. And I refuse to have that happen. Not in my mind it ain't. He came here and he died to forgive me of my sins that I have. And I'm going to tell you now, your flesh is sin itself. Because your flesh cannot go in the kingdom of heaven. But I could sit here and preach all night and tell you my thoughts. But they are mine. And I can't help it, but I'm going to read the Word of God, but I'm also going to tell you the way I feel about it. And I think that Solomon was a Freemason. And I'm hoping that I can prove it to you as we read along. Alright, I'm going to quit for tonight because I can keep going. I love you guys. Bye.